Good afternoon. Mikey here. Whiskey Delta Zero Oscar Mike. And today I am at lovely Kinnickinnic State Park in Wisconsin. I have my Wisconsin state sticker because I am a good citizen and because I am here to support these parks. So yes, I paid for a sticker. Could I have gotten away without one? Maybe. There is definitely a ranger on duty today at the front gate. I passed by her to say hello and show her my sticker. Could I have bypassed her and gotten away with it? Maybe I could have, but I'm not going to. And I strongly recommend you don't either. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you what to do. If the state you're operating in requires some kind of admission or sticker or anything else in order to park at the park, because that's how they fund their parks, pay the fee. Please pay the fee. The parks don't pay for themselves. Nothing in the world pays for itself. Nothing pays for itself. We have to pay for it. That's the nature of the real world. So pay for a sticker if you think you're going to go more than once. Pay at the gate if you think you're only going to go once. That's fine. I did that in Indiana, for example. Indiana Dunes, I paid to get in. Without argument, without complaint, because I want to support these parks. I want these parks to still be here. Not just for me to operate in, but for everyone to do everything else they do in these parks. All right, rant over. I'm here at Kinnickinnic. I'm here earlier in the day than I usually get, but not as early as I originally hoped. I originally thought I'm going to get out of bed at 8, and I'm going to get to Kinnickinnic by like 9:30, and it'll be great. Yeah, it's closer to 11:30 now, and I'm just now getting ready to get on the air, and I actually have a couple of things I want to do before I get on the air. For example, I have been using this 25-foot, SS 25-foot whip on the car with the tuner without any thought to what its actual resonance is, what it looks like on the analyzer. And honestly, I probably will operate that way today again anyway, because while it is much warmer than it was last weekend when it was -2, it's going to be 30-something today, which is why I'm here. It's not so warm that I want to keep getting in and out of the car to adjust the whip or change hamsticks or anything like that. So I'm going to be lazy and I'm still going to rely on the tuner, but I am sort of curious. How close am I? How much work is the tuner doing? What might I do to allow the tuner to do less work? Because if I can shorten the whip just a little and still be broad-banded, be able to band hop, and the tuner doesn't have to do as much work, that's great. I mean, the tuner exists to do work. But if it does less work, that also means that my antenna is more efficient in its natural state, as it were. And that means less energy is being wasted as heat at the tuner, or if I were using a transformer, at the transformer. Someday I'm going to do a whole video on that, but I'm still really wrapping my head around all of it. Like, I know the practical implications of SWR, and I'm starting to learn some of the mathematical and actual physical implications of SWR, because SWR in the end is a kind of a composite number, right? It's not the whole story. There's a whole lot of variables that actually go into your SWR, and sometimes some of those variables matter more than others depending on circumstances, and I don't know any of that well yet. I know enough to know that I don't know enough. How's that for a statement? I also have, excuse me, I still have a cough, among other things. Which is one reason I didn't go out last week. Last week, like I said, it was -2, and I had an event over the weekend that I went to. And I thought, okay, when I'm done with the event, which is in Hastings, Minnesota, I'm going to come across to Kinnickinnic and activate. And then I was like, it's -2, and I still have this cough and a little bit of asthma going on because of the cough. And no, just no. I'm not that brave. And by the way, for those of you who might be watching from overseas, that's -2, or Canada, that's -2 Fahrenheit, just to be clear. And that was warm for that weekend, by the way. That was a high that weekend. But one of the other things I've got going for me this time around, I brought a speaker. This speaker's been sitting around my house for a while. It's a Bluetooth speaker. I used to use it for meetings. I used to I've been working from home for a long time, but occasionally I'd go to a co-working facility, and if I had a co-worker working for the same company, we'd get a breakout room for like daily stand-up, things like that, and I would use this speaker for those meetings. I don't have much of a use for a speaker in my day-to-day life anymore, but I was like, hey, wait a minute, this takes an analog input too. It's not just a Bluetooth speaker. It'll take an analog input, and of course the radio has an analog output, a line out. So I'm going to experiment with that and see if it's better. At the very least, it's front firing toward me, whereas the ICOM 7100's main heads speaker basically fires directly away from me when the head is in its right position for control. And it's a decent speaker. It's not awful by any means, but it's facing the wrong direction. And one of the things I discovered editing the last few videos is that the microphone I'm wearing, despite being here near me, picks up more sometimes than my ears do. And I made some mistakes in my logs that I had to go back and correct because of what I picked up on the recording. And that's despite the fact that I still only have the lapel mic on me. I still am not putting a line out into a microphone, which I do want to do one of these days, but I don't have a second microphone to do it to yet. I don't have a way to record that audio that way yet. And yes, I could record it on the radio. I know I could do that, but then I got to remember to take the card out, and I've got to synchronize things and blah, 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 blah. I'm lazy. And it's been working. It's been working out pretty well, as far as I can tell from the editing and so on. It does work pretty well. So I'm going to keep going with that. Anyway, this intro's gone longer than I originally intended. I'm going to futz around with the antenna analyzer and get my answers to that question. And if I think those answers are interesting, I'll record that. And if not, I'll be back when I'm ready to actually start talking to people on the radio, which at this rate will probably be closer to noon. Probably won't get as much DX as I hoped for, but, we'll see. Maybe people in Europe are up late.